It's time for another edition of Live. Wait, are you rolling, Drew? Sorry. I'll make sure that was incredible. We got this. It's time for another edition of Live from Studio M on 105.5 Triple M. I'm your host, Jonathan Sutton. There aren't many of us who really know what we want to do when we're in third grade. Sure, there are some boys who want to become firefighters and then they really do. Or maybe there are a few pirates out there, I don't know. But the majority of us don't know what we want to do with our lives until much later. Not today's guest. He knew by the time he was a third grader that music had to be a central part of his life. And for the past 20 years, he's done just that. We'll talk to him about his obsession with vinyl, his aversion to corduroy, as well as life as a dad. But first, let's hear a song from Matt Nathanson live from Studio M.
That's incredible. That was a great intro.
You wrote it, so.
I know, yeah. I did a really good job on that one, didn't I? Tried to underplay. This is a song I wrote about, people always ask me if I could meet a famous person, who would it be? Like, if you could be with one famous person, hang out, who would it be? And most famous people are terrible, so I would rather not hang out with any of them. I like watching movies they make or listening to records they make, but I don't need to. I like to hang with my friends. But I thought if I could, if I had the option, I would hang with Bill Murray. And I feel like Bill Murray would kind of rain down advice on me. You know, he would be great hang. So this is a song I wrote about 100 days of Bill Murray and I traveling the world like Thelma and Louise. Without dying.
Does Brad Pitt end up
here? Yeah, without Brad Pitt's stomach and without dying. So it's not really Thelma and Louise. I fell asleep and had a dream. Bill Murray and I were friends. We drove the world from Boston to Japan, blasting old Van Halen. And one night over drinks, Bill started crying. He said to me, "Kid, of all the stupid things I ever did, you know I let go when I should have pulled her in." And he handed me his cell phone, and when I called, you were on a plane, moving back to Portland for the rain. Yeah, I won't only love you when you're winning. Other fools pretend to understand. Come on, take my hand, we'll go down swinging. Let me be your man. Let me be your man. 100 days we hiked the coast to Galway in the rain. And Bill said something late one night in Spain, and it's always just stuck with me. You only get one person knows you best, and it's temporary, everybody else. And I won't only love you when you're winning. Other fools pretend to understand. Come on, take my hand, and we'll go down swinging. Let me be your man. Let me be your man. I'm done with sleep. Imagine things, 'cause dreams are dreams until you wake up. So wake up, just wake up here with me. And I won't only love you when you're winning. pretend to understand. So come on, take my hand, and we'll go down swinging. Let me be your man. Let me be your man.
Matt Nathanson live from Studio M. We'll talk to him next here at 105.5 Triple M. Commercial. We're back live from Studio M with Matt Nathanson. So did you meet Bill Murray yet?
No, I haven't met Bill Murray. And I have never sung that song this early. I can feel it. I was, I'm just a huge, I just feel like that guy lives his life in a way like where he's led by his passionate self, and he only does roles he wants to do, and he seems totally unself-conscious.
No agent,
No agent. He has an 800 number that you can call if you want, and you give your pitch, and then if he calls you back, that's good. If he doesn't call you back, then you have to find someone else. And so, but he just sort of lives his life in this sort of confident, he just sort of blazes through the world. I feel like that's a pretty great role model to have.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you just said about singing and that it's awfully early to sing. I saw a piece where you said something about that you met with a voice coach who said what was the line? You sing like you don't deserve to sing.
Oh yeah, he came to the show in Boston at the beginning of this tour, and he's like a super great vocal coach. And I put him on the list, and I don't know if he came, and then I went out to his place. He lived out in Revere, and I drove to his place, and I got there, and he goes, I go, hey, I don't know if you made the show. He goes, oh, I made the show, I watched it, it was great. And he goes, yeah, I said, singing is hard for me. He goes, yeah, I could tell. He goes, you sing like you don't deserve to sing. And then he said, and I saw the way your guitar looked too, and you play like, you sort of feel like, the way he put it was like, that you don't deserve to sort of enjoy the experience of singing, that it's more like you just barrel through it and try and hit the notes. He's sort of a hippie in a weird way, and he was like, you have to sort of, you can ask for the notes, and you have everyone has talent that they don't know. And I was like, oh my God, it's like blowing my mind. And he was like, he sort of set me on the path of, because I do come from this sort of, I beat up my guitars and I sing real, and it's like, kind of the Springsteen, school of singing.
Right.
And I think that he thinks that all of us have a grace in us that if we just sort of figured out how to tap into it, it wouldn't be so much of like a fist fight.
So did it work?
I only had one lesson, and it felt like a fist fight just then. So I don't. But I'm going to start doing Skype lessons with him when I'm back. I'm going to start doing Skype, vocal lessons. So we'll do that. And maybe, who knows, next time you see me, I might be just like an angel. You'll see me and you'll be like, oh my God, is that Bjork?
So you are wearing that feather costume today that people can't see on
Yeah, all of a sudden I'm wearing like a bird cage on my head, and you're like, no, it's Matt. But what a change, that vocal coach. I come in, I'm speaking Icelandic.
That'd be awesome. Do you, so I always say things that you never drink. Is that from because you drank a long time ago?
No, I drank when I was a kid. Like I went to boarding school when I was young, and so in boarding school, what usually that is when you're that young and in boarding school, it's kids whose parents don't necessarily want them, and so it's like, and my parents weren't rich, but everyone else's parents were rich, so it was like Kennedy's and DuPont, so it was like cocaine in 7th grade, and I didn't do any of that, but it was like the sort of the most dysfunctional group of human beings you'll ever see in an all-boys school. Like, it was like a separate piece, you know what I mean, or like Catcher in the Rye, all the books, Dead Poets Society, and so anyway, so I drank, like every time I drank, it was not awesome, and so I sort of, as I got to high school, I thought, I don't need to do this anymore. So I so I don't drink, and yeah, I think alcohol is a crazy thing that we
Careful, you're in Wisconsin.
I know. But that alcohol is such a prevalent thing that everybody, like, people sing about it, like country music people who are so unbelievably conservative in the way they view things sing about day drinking and like all this stuff, and it's this fascinating experience, and that yet we don't legalize marijuana. It's crazy to me that, like, and then we have most people can't actually handle the alcohol they drink. and there's like a 12 or 13% human beings that can drink alcohol and not, sort of like cry or throw something, or, you know what I mean? So it's a strange world, but I live in San Francisco, so of course and I don't smoke marijuana either, that's the best part of this whole thing, and I don't even know if you can say it on the air, I don't know how it works in the world if you can say
what?
Like, you can say this, right? It's not like a...
Talk about smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're okay.
That's awesome. I don't know. It's incredible, because down at the diner, no, I'm just kidding. But so anyway, it's one of those things where it's a strange thing. So I don't drink, no, but everybody around me does, and they have fun. My drummer's like in Mad Men. He's like mixing. He's like, I gotta get my rye, and he pulls out this. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like he's got like this setup, and he's just crushing like herbs and putting them in. He's like, here, have a Moscow Mule. Hold on, this is in the fridge. Yes.
All right, should we?
I don't know what he's talking about.
All right, should we do it? Do you want to do another song, maybe? Should we do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm super into that.
It's Matt Nathanson live from Studio M. What you got for us?
I don't know. Your questions are awesome, by the way. Everybody else's questions are, like, so, how's San Francisco? Yours are like, you haven't drank, why don't you drink? I feel like I'm on Oprah. Everybody in here gets a car. You get a Hyundai, you get a Hyundai, and you get a Hyundai, sir. And oh my gosh, and you're very young. It's nice to see you. How old are you?
7.
7. That's awesome. I have a 5-year-old daughter, and that's awesome. Yay. 7. What grade are you in? 7? Second?
Second.
Yeah. 3rd grade, you got to go see a show. What do you think?
No.
No? I like the way you work. All right, yeah. Oh, I should intro this and have it clean. This is a song called Adrenaline. I forgot how good this could feel. Close my eyes, holding the steering wheel, spilling my confessions, midnight on the 405. We really shouldn't be left alone. The way we get into each other's bones, yeah, 'cause you've got your life now, and I've got mine. Take me home, I'm dying. I'd never fall in love with someone else again. If I could only taste your lips and this adrenaline, I'd never leave here, never leave your bed. Ah, ooh, oh, 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 ah, ooh, oh, oh, I'd never leave here, never leave your bed. You said you still remember the words to every single song that we heard. Driving California, the sky looked like a swimming pool. Ever since you pulled me apart, in darkness in our garden in Echo Park, yeah, when dreams come easy, I just disappear in you. Let's stop all this talking. I never fall in love with someone else again. If I could only taste your lips and this adrenaline, I'd never leave here, never leave your bed. Ah, ooh, oh, 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 I'd never leave here, never leave your bed. I'd never fall in love with someone else again. If I could only taste your lips in this adrenaline. I'd never leave here, never leave your bed.
Nathanson live in studio, like, that song is just so good. When you were writing that, I mean, are there some songs where you're just like, yeah? Are they all like that for you?
No, every time I write it feels Imagine. No, the track on that one was really great. The way it felt like Los Angeles to me. And I was writing it in Los Angeles at the time, and it felt like the way when you're driving at night, it's like Los Angeles kind of never shuts down, and you drive through and just like lights and people and sexiness, and so yeah, that was fun.
Did it take a long time to write?
Oh yeah, I feel like all of it takes a long time. I definitely don't come from the, you know, like you read these books where Tom Petty's like, I don't know, I just sat down with Jeff Lynne and Free Fallin' just came out. No, Tom, that doesn't just happen. Like, Tom apparently has a very loose song muscle.
Yeah.
And he just, and the way he talks about it, you're reading this and you're like, what? Because songs for me take a while. I feel like I need some creative Metamucil. No, I just feel like lyrics are the thing that I identify with the most. So lyrics are the thing that seem to take the longest time, and it's a wild deal. And usually you end up going back to kind of what your first instinct was, which is the joke, but it takes you the long way to get back to it.
Is it easier now? You said you have a five-year-old daughter, right?
Yeah.
So is it easier or harder now? Is she more of an inspiration or more kind of in the sleep deprivation?
She kind of rules. Like,
yeah.
You know, you have 2 kids.
Right.
It's like, they rule, man. They're just so wide open, and they have no judgments on anything. They're just sort of they're like vessels of purity. They just love, and they get sad, and all their emotions are there. And you try not to squash that in a kid. You know, you just kind of help them cycle through it and figure out how to deal.
Does she like Dad's music or doesn't listen to it?
She listens to it, yeah. She said the other day, she's got all her swear words down from a couple of my records. She's used those, and she likes certain songs. And I don't usually do this, but the other night I was, when I was home a couple weeks ago, she asked me if I would play her a song so that she could fall asleep. So I played her a song from the last record called Last Days of Summer in San Francisco that she loves, and I just kind of played it over and over again, and then all of a sudden it was like, she's like a barbarian, so she snores like, and so yeah, so she's pretty rad, and she makes up her own songs. She's got a band called Rainbows Over Unicorns, which is a band that she's working on, and she helps me with lyrics. She comes down while I'm working on lyrics, and she sets up next to me, and she's like, Dada, what about hiding under cups? That's deep. What do you mean by that? She's like, I'm just not sure.
Well, you sometimes you get the best material, I think, from kids.
It's incredible. The things she says and does, it's like I've never experienced anything like it. And she's also super advanced and creative. Like, so I'll tell the story that I tell sometimes. I can tell this. So she goes, I was at breakfast the other day, and she goes, my baby's hungry. I was like, oh no. And she picks up her doll, and she pulls her nightgown down and puts it on the nipple. And I was like, all right. And she goes, surprisingly, she likes the nipple best. She goes, she's been on solid food now for a couple of years because she's 3, but I'm going to let her decide when she's ready to eat. And I was like, that's incredibly empathetic. And my wife's like crying. And I'm just like, how did you learn that one? Wow. So the other day she was like practicing her mindfulness, and I was like, oh my God, wow. You're so much more advanced than me. Yeah. She's like, it helps me calm down, and also research shows that it strengthens the brain. All right. You do it. You go.
as far as some good things that you're doing, you were in Peru not that long
It's
ago.
not nearly
it's not
as good as
your
my
daughter.
kid. I mean, she's naked all the time and just running around. She was on the bus and she's just nude. That's what she does. And people, the band will come out and she'll be like, "Hey guys." All right. Yeah, I was in Peru.
Yeah, let's transition. This is a cool thing you were doing in Peru.
I was naked in Peru.
Yes.
I was running the streets of Huancayo. Nothing but my dignity.
So talk about it a little bit though. You were providing hearing aids, or what was the story? This is kind of cool.
Yeah, so it's cool. So we
And just picture him doing it naked.
yeah, scaring everybody from cities around. So, I shot a bunch of videos in my life. Where, all I ever wanted to do when I started playing music was shoot videos where I got to like fake make out with a model. That just sounds awesome, right? So I did a couple of those. That was fun.
Yeah.
And
did you get even a little kiss in there?
no, it's very like no, but it's incredibly steamy and fun. And anyway, so. And then I thought, as I'm getting older...
Wait, can we do that for a second more? Because I'm curious. Because it looks like you're making out.
You know what
happens? I mean, you are.
I'm inhabiting another person. We act.
Is that what
No, just kidding. Can you imagine if I said that for real? I usually just, you know, it's like jumping out of a plane. You know, you just close your eyes.
So you're making out. It's not like there's a little piece of paper in between.
No, there is. There's a small film that exists. But anyway, so I did a bunch of videos like that, which were great, as you seem to know. And but what I decided was, as I was getting older, I was like, man, it would be great to do a video where we actually pushed something forward that was important, you know, instead of just making out with people. And so. We came across this this group called Starkey. It's a hearing aid company in Minnesota, and they're like one of the largest manufacturers of hearing aids. And they also do this mission work where the head of the company and his wife, the two of them, sort of run these missions to different parts of the world where people can't hear, and they donate their time and their energy and all of the resources to these people. So they set up camp, and then people come from miles around. They fit like 600-700 people a day, kind of. And so I went with them to Huancayo, Peru, because I have a song called Headphones that's about music, because as you talked about music, to me, for a long time I liked music more than I liked people, like a lot. It was just the thing that was always there for me, always sort of supported me as a kid. I had my headphones on constantly. And so the song Headphones was about music saving your life, and then all of a sudden we came across Starkey and the things that they did, and it was like, man, maybe we could donate our video budget to this. So we flew to Huancayo and we donated money to buy a bunch of hearing aids. And I spent 2 days kind of in service of the people of Peru that had come from all around. And it was incredible, incredibly heavy, and it was incredibly cool. They do amazing work. So to be able to be a part of it and to be there, the impact of when somebody hears for the first time, or hears for the first time in a long time. There were people who were 90-something-year-old women and men, and then there was 5- and 6-year-old boys and girls who were deaf. And you're there, and you're like initiating this experience, and then they have it, and you're like, it's crazy. It was unbelievable.
But I could also imagine you sometimes like, okay, now you're going to hear, and then you'd push it, and then just move your mouth without saying anything.
Just to mess with them?
Yeah. You didn't do that, did you?
No.
Okay.
That's a terrible idea. But I love it. I love where your brain goes. So yeah, but the thing is I didn't speak Spanish either, so it was really like bop, 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 and then I would have looked like I would have gotten fired.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear another song. What
you want to do that one last? I'm asking Aaron.
We'll talk to Aaron. Don't worry. Well, I was going to introduce him.
Oh, you were? Oh,
next
shoot.
one, but
This is not Aaron.
we can do that now. Let's hear from Aaron.
All right, ready?
Matt Nathanson live from studio.
Yeah. There's a song called Summertime, perfect for now. Beautiful fall day. Yeah. Summertime. summertime. I gotta get that feeling. Summertime, summertime, summertime. It's too hot to sleep. We're laughing in the heat. We lay together and watch the sky turn on. Sirens come in waves of the fire escape, and every shadow disappearing into dawn. Ooh, let's keep this going. Wanna go all in. We'll never be lonely in the dark. Nobody loves you the way that I do, the way you shine through gold in the summertime. Summertime, summertime, gotta get that feeling. Summertime, 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 gotta get that feeling. We could dodge the rain, some museum cafe, or run together till the storm clouds all get gone. Wander through the streets, take the F train to the beach, and be in love with being young, dazzling and lost. Ooh, let's keep this going. Wanna go all in. We'll never be lonely in the dark. Rooftop Soho, Prince on the radio. The city streets glow gold in the summertime. Summertime, summertime, gotta get that feeling. Summertime, 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 gotta get that feeling. Oh, let me disappear in your love, in your love. Oh, just to listen to your love, real love. Summertime, 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 I gotta get that feeling. Summertime, 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 I gotta get that feeling. Nobody loves you the way that I do, the way you shine through gold in the summertime. Soho, Prince on the radio, the city streets glow gold in the summertime. Summertime, 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 I gotta get that feeling. Summertime, 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 I gotta get that feeling. Summertime, 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 gotta get that feeling. Summertime, 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 gotta get that feeling. Gotta get that feeling. Gold in the summertime.
Matt Nathanson live from Studio One. So where did you find Aaron?
Aaron, I found him just an urchin living under the street. A hard case that's tough to beat. A charity case, something to eat. Aaron and I grew up in the same town in Massachusetts, Lexington, Massachusetts. Back in 1776, we pushed the British back, and they wanted to take over, and we didn't let them, did we?
Did you guys go to school together?
Well, we went to there was one schoolhouse in our town, and we would ride our horses up every morning, and there was prohibition back then, so.
I was learning to be a silversmith.
You were an incredible silversmith. No, we grew up in the same town, but Aaron is slightly older than I am, and so I met him summer jobbing, which is a verb.
Yes. Summer job. What were you summer jobbing?
We were summer jobbing at an Italian, and I put that in quotes, Italian restaurant in downtown Lexington, and it was not awesome. But
were you guys waiters or?
No, he was a chef, and I was the sous chef. I would like a line cook, like prep everything.
For him? For
Yeah,
you, Aaron?
for Aaron.
I mean, I wouldn't eat it.
His mouth was just at the end of this conveyor belt. And so what we had to do was like, can we cut this in time, or is he gonna choke? It was like a game.
Wow.
And so a lot of
So, but
times
did
he
you
did.
did you know he was a musician then? Did you just talk about we got to get out of here?
Yeah, it was very Springs, like, we gotta get out. It was like
Yeah.
the animals. But anyway, so there was a tape player in the kitchen, because that was when it happened. And Aaron would, when you were on the ovens, you got to run the tape player. And he played many, many songs I'd never heard that scared me. And then, and then I was like, hey man, you play music? And he was like, shut up, kid. And then over time, I broke him down with my sweetness. And we had our first pancake breakfast at your house, at your parents' house back then. That was a sweet time. And then from then on, it was Friendship City. And then I asked him if he wanted to play guitar with me, and he said no. And then he did. After a while, I broke him down. I'm incredibly persistent. And here he is, traveling the world, the glory of rock and roll. The two of us, Indigo guys.
Beautiful story.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Cinderella story.
I hope some of it's true.
Yeah, none of it is true.
What's your name again?
Yeah, Mike.
All right, sadly, we're running out of time, but you need to tell the corduroy story. I guess, do you have a problem with corduroy?
I love corduroy, but apparently when I play with the band, I throw shapes of myself. And corduroy, after a while, is not super into that. Especially in the crotchal region of pants. So 2 different times I have totally blown out a pair of corduroys on stage in front of humans. One was in St. Louis at the Gargoyle at Washington University.
I feel like there's a joke there with the name of the...
Yeah. I don't know how far I can go here. I thought we were not able to even talk about pot. So anyway, so I ripped my pants then. That was funny. And when you rip your pants on stage, you can't. It's like something you cannot. You just have to admit that it's happening. Because when they rip, they really just go. And so I was on stage in Buffalo 3 summers ago, and it happened again. And the crowd, it was a very large crowd, much bigger than the first time. And I was turned to the drummer and I was like, oh, because it feels immediately like someone turned the air conditioning on. So there's a great feeling. At first you're like, well, this is an incredible end of the night. And then you're like, oh no. And you look down and you see like the pants are kind of flapping. So it ripped from the crotch down to the, like almost down past the knee, past the calf. And I just looked like Lawrence of Arabia. So I had to turn and be like, hey, I ripped my pants. And the crowd was like, that's awesome! And I played a couple more songs, air conditioned, and luckily I was wearing suitable undergarments. And we blazed on, just pants a flapping. But corduroy is not it's a very nice, soft fabric. It doesn't belong in rock and roll. That's the truth. Aaron doesn't wear them either.
They're pants for standing in, that's about it.
Yeah. If you decide to get at all frisky with them, they'll just give.
All right, before we let you play your last song, we'll bring it down, make you be a little more profound. Not that
sure.
wasn't very deep.
Are you kidding me? That's incredibly deep.
Yes. Looking at some of the stories of people writing stuff to you about how, like, oh, I was depressed for years and there was one particular song that inspired me that you wrote, or you'll have new music that you're playing, like the video you did at Daryl Hall's house, where it's like a brand new song and everybody knows the words.
You're the best researcher on the planet. How did you know I saw the vocal coach that said I was too aggressive with my guitar?
I've been following you.
That's incredible. What's incredible about it is that I know what kind of shampoo you use. Every time I'm here, I camp out outside your bathroom. So it just feels good to feel it reciprocated. It never happens. Usually it's like a restraining order, but with you,
No, I'm okay
research.
with it. No, but seriously, these people telling you like, oh, I was been so depressed, or this helped me get through school, or when I was so down, your song helped me, or in my case, Come On Get Higher was good for me to with my, when I was courting at the time, my now wife. So like, all those...
I just looked
She's here, yeah,
that was an embarrassing moment.
And so having that impact on people, whether it's,
Having that impact on you,
Yes.
is what you're saying.
Yeah. You were the ringtone for a while.
I've been
dude.
trying. Is that what you call it?
So, but that's kind of, I mean, do you have people come up with lyrics tattooed on them that are your lyrics and stuff? Like,
It's super flattering. I also don't receive it super well because I don't believe that I have anything to do with it, truthfully. It's like I am maybe a part of it in terms of like I'm there. It's sort of like I'm a passenger in the car, but everybody overcomes all their own stuff. And that's like, and everybody deals with their own hardships themselves. And so when they come up and they say, your song really helped, and I'm like, I had nothing to do with it. Like, it was all you. Like, you gotta take, like, you did it. That's great. And as people, that's our job, right? Is that as we get older, we're trying to get better. We're trying to get more open and more kind and less broken. And so it's super flattering when they say it to me, and I can relate to it because I feel the same way about records that I love, that I hear, and some lyrics that bring me to tears. I mean, we played Only Living Boy in New York the other night, and it's like, if you're not moved by that, I mean, that song is incredible, and all Paul Simon, and it's like, and those lyrics, like, I just even speaking them, I'm brought to tears. So I understand the power of music, and I understand the experience that someone has with it, and I'm not belittling their experience, it's like, it really is them, and so it's incredibly humbling to hear it. It's incredible, but I don't. When I hear it, it's hard for me to take it on in any way other than like, man, that is really cool of you to tell me that. That's super great that you're open about it, and that was all you, and I appreciate it. Because like, it's not me, and it's like the music is what's extraordinary. And I'm not even saying my music. I'm saying music in general is what is extraordinary about us, about humans. It's like art, like and so we're just all kind of swimming in the soup of it. And so, and I think I freak people out a little bit because I want to satiate them when they say something like that to me, like, oh my God, your song changed my life, and I want to give them something that satisfies them in my answer, but it just doesn't stick to me. It's just sort of like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like I take it and I kind of go, that's incredible, and then they're like, no, really, and I'll be like, oh my God, I don't know what to say, but I'm super psyched. Like, I could not be more psyched for you, but like for me, it's just like, it's, it's hard to take it in and think like, good job, Matt, or way to go, because it's just like, we're all just on these paths, man, and whatever tools you can use that aren't self-destructive, I think that's pretty great. And so I get why you would sort of thank the person who helped craft the tool, but it's really you using the tool that makes the thing happen.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Time for one more. Matt Nathanson.
I also realized I told the headphone story and played Summertime.
Yeah.
You probably noticed that
I
too.
did, but
That was awesome. I'm like halfway through the first verse and I'm like, we should have really played headphones. When you have as many hits as I do, you're gonna leave some out on the lawn. You know what I'm saying? I think like there's only a couple people that relate to it. Me, Streisand, Neil Diamond. Do you know what I mean? People that just constantly letting people down with our hits because there's just not enough time. I don't want to see the wires in the circus anymore. I want to dream and make believe people can fly. I don't need to be reminded what it takes to kill the fun. Got a head full of sharp knives. Yeah, it's easy to get colder, and it's easy to forget. Meet me where the lights dim, and we can wake up every morning. We can set ourselves on fire, and we can do it all again. Whoa. The world don't speak for us, they lack the confidence. Yeah, we're only hearts and bones and blood. Oh, but we are giants, giants. The walls are closing in. We climb and they descend. Nothing but the darkness till the darkness goes away, until the television finally tells the truth. You know, everybody's scared of things they don't understand, and all of the living that they don't do. Yeah, it's easy to get colder, and it's easy to forget. Meet me where the lights dim, and we can wake up every morning, we can set ourselves on fire, and we can do it all again. Whoa.